Let's bring you this development now. The South African Council of Churches has begun a drive to reduce vaccine hesitancy among the elderly. Now, this as the country continues its phase 2 vaccination rollout. At this stage, intended mainly just for those over the age of 60, health workers, as well as those with comorbidities. Our Malungelo Booi is in Soweto this morning tracking this campaign involving the South African Council of Churches. And Malu, it's about 6 degrees in Johannesburg as you and I speak. That hasn't stopped the many people who we're seeing there, who in some respects will play a crucial role in the success of this campaign.
That's right. In fact, it's quite cold here in Protea Glen as well. And you can already see some of the elderly people that are here that obviously will be part of this initiative with the South African Council of Churches. It's an interesting one, Ayanda, considering the fact that we know that there are some people who are still a bit hesitant on taking the vaccine. Well, Bishop Malusi Mpumlwana is the General Secretary of the South African Council of Churches. So thank you so much for your time. I'm wondering then, what prompted this initiative?
The South African Council of Churches, right from the beginning, when we first got to know about the COVID onslaught, from the 24th of March 2020, the heads of member churches of the South African Council of Churches had been meeting every Tuesday in what is called the COVID Watch. And that then led to the Council of Churches developing a pastoral plan. And that pastoral plan included a large communication platform which we have created, but also what we call pastoral care. And that pastoral care includes every area that we believe needs attention, including gender-based violence, which is increased over the COVID time, but also access to care and ensuring that people are taken care of. And so when the vaccine season began, we then said we should do two things. One, we should continue with the campaign to drive down the infection rate, promoting the usual things, mask, both nose and mouth, and distance and hand hygiene. But then, because we know that that important measure cannot be sustained in the long term, we then decided to support the vaccination campaign. We got to know that there were lots of myths around it, and the heads of churches appointed a task team of theologians from all the traditions of our churches to really go into these myths, working with science, and we produced a document that made it very comfortable for the churches to feel they can promote the vaccines. Now, what we have then done is to say, we know that there are no less than 5 million people over the age of 60 who need to be vaccinated, especially because they are the ones who mostly will die. As a result of that, we figured that in the South African Council of Churches member churches, which is about 23 to 25 million South Africans, of those people we have no less than 2 million who are members of our churches. So it is our pastoral responsibility to make sure that those 2 million are reached within our churches. But then they have tea with other elderly people who may not necessarily be in our churches. That's why we reach out to every person as much as we can. That's what we're doing now.
So what are you saying then to the people? What are you saying to the people? When you're reaching out to them, what are you saying about the vaccine?
Actually, we just ask them if they have registered. You'll be surprised. A good number of the people that are here have registered.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah. And those that have not registered needs the help. I mean, the person I was working with just now, he does not have his ID number in he has not memorized it, and he cannot read. And so there we are. We have to take his ID number, sanitize, read it for him, and make sure that everything is registered for that person. They find it very helpful. And that's what we're saying. Have you registered? No, I'm not registered. Do you need help to be registered? Yes, please help register me. And then they get it done. It is very simple. And we're doing this in all the Boxer shops. We have asked that other shops also be brought in, ShopRite, Pick and Pay. And I think that effort is being made to combine that. We're doing this across the country.
Bishop, I'm thinking then in rural provinces. Right now we're in an urban center. I'm thinking in rural provinces where at times it's actually quite difficult to reach some of the elderly people. What happens there?
You don't come more rural than Mhlabialingana in Manguzi, and that's where we are this morning. This morning we have a group of people at Boxer, at Manguzi, doing exactly what we're doing here. But we also know that for the rural areas, government is looking to use more the Johnson & Johnson because it's a one jab. So it's going to be later than now. But we are going everywhere where there is Boxer. Look at it this way. In this country, every ward or village has no less than 10 to 15 churches. Sure. I mean, that's the kind of infrastructure we're talking about here. Okay. And what we have done is to ask all the member churches to give us a church in every municipality area, so that in that church we have got a registration, a kind of center, that from there the volunteers will then work with the communities in that area. We're doing this everywhere, and we believe that it is very important for it to happen. We are going to keep it going beyond the over 60s, because we need to look at those with comorbidities, we need to look at the disabled, we need to look at anyone that needs this assistance. This is the pastoral responsibility of the churches.
Bishop, are some of the people that you're interacting with, as churches, raising perhaps concerns about taking the vaccine?
Yes.
And what do you actually say to a person who is raising a concern about taking a vaccine?
We've had some have raised concerns of possible side effects. Sure. There are side effects, and we tell them what the side effects will be, and that they should expect those, and that when they come, this is what they should do. But we also hear some are saying, a lot of the goggles are saying,
yeah.
I'm so old, I'm going to die anyway. Yeah. There was a very interesting case of my aunt, my wife's aunt, yeah. Who's 89, and she doesn't want to take a vaccine. And we said to her, well, because Gogo, you're old, you don't want to take a vaccine because you think you're going to die. It's unfortunate, because then we can't visit you, because we were planning to visit you this year, but if you're not taking the vaccine, we can't visit you because we might just bring the virus to you. So, well, in that case, I think I'll take the vaccine because I want you to visit me.
Bishop, finally, Bishop, I mean, are we likely then to see the churches perhaps even being used as vaccination sites? Is it something that you'd want to see?
The church leaders have offered that where there is a need, that will be available. We will make our facilities available. That offer we have made already. But there is another matter that we're hearing, and people are saying, some of the goggles are saying, yeah, I'm told if I vaccinate I will die, and that this thing is going to kill me within 2 years, whatever the number is. And you know, there is something of an industry of people that are churning out these false videos. And if you believed them, it means that the whole world will die in the next 2 years. Hey, wouldn't it be nice for all these anti-vaxxers to keep the world to themselves? It's nonsense, absolute nonsense. But somebody is making this happen across the world. A lot of it comes from the United States, of these anti-vaxxers. I would like to say, and I've said this to the goggles, that this is not true. Okay. It cannot be possible that all the scientists of the world have not known this. All they know is that this helps. That two things that prevent the vaccine, the virus from spreading. It is the distance, the mask, the hand hygiene, and the ventilation, which is difficult in winter. The second thing is vaccinate, vaccinate, vaccinate. And that's what we're trying to promote.
All right, Bishop, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bishop Malusi Mpumlwana, he's the Secretary General of the South African Council of Churches, saying that they're in all Boxer stores nationwide, targeting the elderly, encouraging them to register in order to get that all-important COVID-19 vaccine.
Absolutely, and we know every step of the way counts. Malungelo Booi, thanks very much indeed. He's live to us there from Soweto in Johannesburg.